got made redundant, left the business in about 78, so he thought he'd set up his own business.
Okay, and do you make a fortune from it? Are you one of those self-made millionaires? You said no way there even before I finished the question. Sort of like, almost like you've a bit angry with your dad. You've made a terrible mistake there by going into the family business.
Let's not go there, Steve.
Okay, oh dear, there's a lot of pent-up resentment. And this is not the place to deal with any of that. Music generally, what's your sort of flavour?
Music-wise?
Yeah.
Pixies, Wedding Present, Kraftwerk, that kind of thing.
Sure, I got the, you mentioned before that you used to be a heavy metal fan.
Yes.
You said
at the beginning.
Like you're slightly tentative about it, because it has escaped me, heavy metal. I'm sorry to say that I am one of those people that, beyond the kind of the big anthems that we all know and love, it's something I've never quite understood. Maybe I just wasn't angry enough, or tormented enough, or beaten enough as a child.
I don't know, when we were young, everybody kind of split up into groups, and I just ended up doing heavy metal and Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and all that kind of shit.
Did you wear the correct garb as well?
Sorry?
Did you have all the right clothing as well? Because I imagine if you turned up at a heavy metal gig, in chinos and a pair of deck shoes, it would perhaps not go down well.
I mean, I think you'd be more accepted than other genres, actually. I think
oh, really? Is it quite?
Okay,
it's quite it's quite a welcoming community, is it?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah,
that's very sweet.
As long as you drink enough.
Sure. It's a heavy drinking, heavy loving kind of music. Sure. And Roof, for some reason I'm here with Super Posh Rufus. I can't imagine you've ever been a heavy metal man.
Well, I'm a big fan of. Actually, I've got a coy liking for kind of prog rock from the 70s.
That's not quite the same thing, though, is it?
Not, is it? But when prog rock is really rocky, I kind of pretend that it's heavy metal to myself.
Right.
Actually, Dave, I hope you don't mind me.
Sipping a brandy.
Yeah. Hope you don't mind me telling you this, but my brother and I went to the Albert Hall once or twice and sat in the Royal Box. Because my brother used to work for the Royal Family at Buckingham Palace, and when you go and sit in the Royal Box, you have to wear a suit and tie. And when I think my brother went to see someone like Terrorvision or something like that, and everyone, of course, is wearing t-shirts and ripped jeans and moshing, and he's sitting there in a suit and tie, feeling like a bit of a fool.
That's magnificent. It never. Sorry, Dave. I know it's very much your moment, this, but it never ceases to amaze me the levels of poshness this man can reach. It's quite extraordinary. What tune have you chosen for us, Dave?
It's Kirsty MacColl track. It's England to Columbia Now.
Any particular reason why you've gone for Kirsty?
I think she's fantastic. I think a singer-songwriter's girl. I mean, there's so many about these days. She can knock the spots off most of them. She's brilliant.
I'm not sure.
Tragic loss.
Absolutely, indeed, and I'm not sure that I'm particularly familiar with this track. So let's listen to it. Stay there, and we'll come back to you in a sec, Dave.
Okay, cheers.
Here we are. The much-missed Kirsty MacColl and England 2, Columbia 0. The choice of Dave Evans in Newcastle under Lyme. Dave, you still there?
I am.
Hello, mate. I tell you what, it's exactly the kind of tune that makes this the eclectic ragbag selection of songs which I love on this show.
That's what I was hoping.
Yes, exactly. It's a sort of song that I probably wouldn't have played to myself, but it sits very nicely, I think.
Sorry, you've gone.
Hang on. I think he might be in some kind of small aircraft. I think maybe he's actually he's the mail order business is just a front. Actually, he's running drugs in and out of Colombia. Dave, thank you very much indeed for your choice, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Okay.
A little round of applause, please, for Dave. He's come on now too. Thank you, Dave.
Work, Dave.
Daniel, if people want to contribute songs to the show, how do they do it?
Best way is to go to the website, Steve, www.bbc.co.uk/6music. Figure 6 music.
Thank you very much indeed, Harry. One of your choices coming next, but before that, I know you've had various things coming into the email, stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk.
Yeah, listeners who've been with us for about the last hour remember that Sammy won 20 quid for being the She-J, which he has to spend in Argos.
That's it right there.
And make a choice by the end of the show. We have had a suggestion. An unnamed listener recommends the James Martin hand mixer. It has an intelligent boost button.
Ooh.
Now, that does sound pretty good.
I'm creating that right now.
Check that out.
If anyone's got any other ideas, then please get in touch. Now, we've got an email from a gent who used to work at a central London casino.
Right.
He used to work on the door, Steve, and he recounts a tale of how he couldn't let you in once.
Yes. Interesting.
He says your membership's been suspended, and because he worked there and he wasn't allowed to give you the reason. Do you know why you're banned from all
This is really weird you should mention that, and I'm intrigued, and I wonder if he is still listening. Please get in touch. If you know the reason that I'm barred from the casino, please let me know, because this goes back a long way now.
It's not just one casino, is it?
It's quite a lot. Yeah, it seems to be every casino. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago, right? I took a girl on a date to the casino, right? And I was a casino member, and I thought this will be fun, and I said, let's put on our fat glad rags, and let's go down to the casino. You know, I jumped in a cab with her. You know, I paid for it. She already thought this is going to be a heck of an evening, and we pulled up at the A Central London Casino, which was, pardon me, quite a classy place. You know, a lot of rich, you know, businessmen, you know, a lot of sort of Arab people. You know that, you know, the rich kind of moneyed Arabs. It's clearly quite a high class joint, and we queued up for a little while. Got there, and I said, "Yeah, thanks very much indeed. Could you just there's the membership pass. Just let me and the lady in, please." So I went, "No problem, sir." Started typing away. He just threw the card back at me, kind of flicked it back at me. He went, "You can't come in, you're barred." I went, "What?" He went, "You're barred." I went, "Listen, mate, I'm with a date here. Could you just let me in?" He went, "You're barred." I said, "What reason is it that I'm barred?" He went, "I can't give you a reason. Okay, it's a private members club. Can't give you a reason." Okay, come on, mate. And so me and this girl, I tell you what, I was wearing a suit and tie. She was in a kind of ball gown. Ended up, the only place that was open that late at night that I could get into was some kind of greasy spoon. We had egg and bacon sandwiches about 2 in the morning. I was dribbling egg down my tie. It was not the hottest moment of my life. But what annoys me is, ever since when I tried to get into casinos, they continue to tell me I'm barred, and they will not tell me why. They won't give me what the reason is. And what I don't understand is, I've only been in a casino a few times, and I didn't cause any trouble. I didn't bet big. I mean, essentially, I was in there for the free sandwiches. So why could they? I mean, unless they know that, which is very unlikely. Why? I can't understand why I'm barred. You know, I've got a little bit of money. You know, sometimes I'm happy to waste upwards of £27 at a casino on any given evening, and so I just don't understand. You know, I could potentially be a big spender.
Yeah, I mean, this gent mentions the demented world of casino hell as being the reason that you weren't let in. I don't know. Maybe does your height advantage? Does that mean you can, you know,
I can loom down on people?
Yeah, I don't know if that would help at all.
It just doesn't.
It's
I
very
genuinely,
strange.
though, I'm perplexed.
Very
Because
strange.
joking aside, I have never done anything of which I'm ashamed in a casino. I've never caused trouble. You know, I've never won big, lost big. I've just been one of those kind of moderate players. You know, you've been in a casino with me.
Yeah, but you mostly go for the free sandwiches, don't you?
I do mostly
I'm
go for
thinking
the
this
free
is what it
sandwiches,
might
it's
be.
true.
You
But
just
what
go
I mean
in
is,
and-
I'm saying is they didn't know that. They're not mind readers. So, what I don't know. We don't want to give the guy's name in case he gets him in trouble. But
Yeah.
if you do know the reason that I'm barred from a casino, or you can tell me, maybe you can kind of find out from ex-colleagues as to why it is. I would really desperately like to know, just so that then I can maybe I can concoct some kind of fake ID. I'll try and wipe the slate clean, but I'm assuming that the moment's past. Bear in mind as well, you never know which celebrity pals I might bring with me. Brackets, never going to happen. Okay, Harry, you're going to choose a tune for us now.
Yeah, Vic Goddard was the leader of seminal punk band Subway Sect. In the early 80s, the rest of his band said, "We've had enough of this," and they went off and became the Joe Boxers. Vic Goddard gave up music and went and became a postman for most of the 80s. In the early 90s, he recorded an album called The End of the Surrey People, which Edwyn Collins produced. This track is from it, and it's called Won't Turn Back.
Harry, what was the name of the song? Who's it by?
Won't Turn Back by Vic Goddard. Sadly, out of print now. I just had a quick look online. You can only get the album for about 40 quid from second-hand Sharks, which is very disappointing.
I just was thinking actually about the last time that I was allowed in a casino prior to that ban. And I remember, I don't know if there's anything to do with it, maybe this person bad-mouthed me, but I remember going in and, you know, I don't like to lose money, and I'd lost about £17.
Oof.
And I was furious. I mean, I was absolutely furious. And I'd gone there for a friend's birthday. And in a moment he said, "Oh, what happened, Steve?" He said, "What happened? You look a bit upset." I went, "Yeah, I've just lost £17. And bear in mind, I did also buy you a gift. So I was already down before I arrived." So in my panic, I didn't even think what I was saying. But yeah, I wonder if he bad-mouthed me. I wonder any answers there? How we've got any response?
Well, yeah, Michael's been in touch. Do you think that maybe your date was a notorious ex-convict who stole from casinos in wild, over-the-top Ocean's 11 style heists? You've been barred for association with her.
Quite possibly so. Well, yeah, if you work in any form of casino and you can tap into the mainframe and find out why I'm barred, I would like to know. Sammy, you've been hunting through the Argos catalogue trying to find out what you're going to spend your £20
I also-
on. Don't give us the answer yet, because
I'm not
obviously, you
gonna
know,
tell you, no.
this is keeping people tuned in. No one's changing channels at this stage. But you're narrowing down your...
Yeah, that James Martin thing's 30 quid. I'll be honest, I'm not putting the tenner towards it. I found no hint of an intelligent button, so step away from the hand blender.
You remember last week? Was it last week? I introduced a new feature, a sort of flip, if you will, to the Seduction compilation, and it's "Songs to Nurse a Broken Heart" by. And, you know, I'm conscious that lots of people, particularly on a Sunday, they get a little bit melancholy. All they've got to look forward to is another week of work. And perhaps on a Sunday evening, all they've got is Antiques Roadshow. But even I remember when as a kid I'd watch Antiques Roadshow, and even as it drew towards an end, I'd realise that tomorrow, school again. You know, is always a bit melancholy. It can be a bit gloomy and a bit lonely on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. So that's why Songs to Nurse a Broken Heart will hopefully help you through it. They're all melancholy tunes, and none more so than this one from Billie Holiday, the great Billie Holiday, Good Morning Heartache. If there was ever a pin-up for the broken-hearted, then it's Lady Day herself, Billie Holiday, a woman, of course, who died at the age of 44 with only 70 cents in her pocket, in her bank account, which is tragic indeed. We discovered a new talent that Rufus has during that break. The ability to make one of those kind of old-style 40s trumpet sounds. Please give us a small blast. It really is.
We'll give it a try.
It's not bad at all.
It's what Billie Holiday would have wanted.
It's almost Coronation Street.
It's the perfect way to commemorate that great woman. And you mentioned in passing as well that that's not your only sound effect skill.
I can do the sound of a baby crying in a corner. Over here, actually.
Imagine if you've just tuned in at that moment.
Imagine the uses for that.
We've got to get a Sony now.
That's Sony award-winning radio right there. Here's the news.
That was LCD Sound System and Losing My Hedge, and that was the choice on this week's The Steve Show from me, little tiny little Dan. Steve appears to have given up talking. He's realised he can do the show without saying anything, so he's got me to explain myself for that. Excellent record. It really captures that whole, I'm not quite as young as I used to be, and there are young kids now who are listening to things that I don't quite like, but they scare me a little bit. I was at a nightclub the other week, and that was the first time in a while, and I definitely felt, I wasn't the oldest person there, but I definitely felt a little bit out of place. I went into room 2, which was the R&B room, and man, there was stuff going on there that I didn't have a clue what was going on about that. But the LCD Sound System kind of, they're taking me through this difficult time, because their main guy is sort of getting on a bit, you know, but he's still kind of cool, but he knows that there are younger kids coming through. So that's the reason why I love this song. It's also great because if Weird Al Yankovic did a cover of it, he's got so many options. It's called Losing My Edge, but he could do Losing My Hedge.
Brilliant.
Losing My Veg. More likely.
Losing My Veg.
I think Losing My Veg, and I always look for that in a song as well. Some of the weird, I think for the Weird Al angle, it scores at least 9 out of 10.
Little round of applause in the Steve Reich style for Dan there. I made him speak, and it was almost like just a minute, I felt there. He kept going without deviating, hesitating. It was very, very nice indeed. And one thing I also admire about Dan today, very tiny little man, but he's wearing a very smart summer shirt there, very dignified,
crisp.
very crisply ironed, and I wondered to myself, why?
Ostensibly, it's because I think I ought to smarten my act up a bit, and I'm trying to, improve myself. But I think if you were to scratch the surface, you'd realise that I'm just trying to impress Rufus. Really, I'm trying to get his approval, to be honest with you.
Rufus, do you give your approval?
I do. It is quite clearly a man-made fibre, and I'm glad there are no naked flames in the studio, and I'm keeping a reasonable distance from Dan because he could go up at any minute.
I could do.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a very big fire. I'm a very small man. But
A bit tiny little fire.
tiny little
So you're
man.
appalled because it's not made from mohair or tweed?
Sea Island cotton quality. No, it is quite nice. It's got a good edge to it. Nice nap down the sleeve.
Good. Once again, dynamite rock and roll radio as we discuss the quality of Dan's shirts. Before the news, we played the great Billie Holiday, and of course, she had many run-ins with the law in the past, and of course, she was even, I think, terribly kind of arrested or charged for some petty crime for drug offence or something on her deathbed. That was how kind of mistreated she was for her life. But she's not the only kind of soulful musical genius that is having trouble with the law, because of course